Yeah.
Nice to see you again, Mike.
Good
How
to
are
see
you?
you. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
All right. It's been a couple weeks since we last met. What's been going on since then? Last time you were talking about feeling unappreciated at work.
Well, there's just so much uncertainty swirling around because we're contract vendors and we don't know if we're going to get our contract renewed. So everybody's on edge. Everybody's pretty much feeding into the rumor mill, which every day it's something different. It's going to be this company getting the contract, and we're not getting the contract, and they're going to hire people that are working there now, or they're not going to hire people who are working there now. And I go from facility to facility, so I'm constantly seeing people from other companies, and it's starting to make me nervous. So
And what exactly do you do?
I provide counseling for inmates, male and female, at 6 different facilities throughout the state.
Oh, wow. So you do travel a lot.
Yeah.
And how long was your the contract that you have right now?
It was 2 years, then they got a 1-year renewal, and they're working on a 1-year renewal now. But we're supposed to hear by the end of this month whether we're going to get the contract or not.
And what are the prospects if that doesn't go through?
From what I hear, not good.
And where does that leave you?
I've been going on interviews, and luckily I send my resumes out, I get lots of phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
But I like what I do.
And you like where you work?
I like where I work.
Then why do you feel unappreciated?
It's mostly from the people above me. They're very black and white, and I don't believe in black and white.
Okay.
So
They're by the book and...
And I know there's a book, and I know where the book is, but
You
can't- yeah.
want to...
it's got to be
Branch out from that.
For this type of work, it has to be personal.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just therapy, it's not just counseling, it's not just psychoeducational, it's entertainment. And it has to be, because you're dealing with people who have psych issues, other behavioral issues, addiction issues. So their attention span is, and you can imagine, is probably somewhere between a 7-year-old and a 12-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to keep them focused for an hour unless they're having fun.
And your higher-ups don't want you to...
Yeah, they see the results, but they don't like
The
my
techniques.
methods. They think I'm as crazy as they are.
But it's effective.
Right.
So
Right.
now would not getting this contract and forcing you to find something else, do you think you can stay within the same field of what you do now?
I would like to. I've gotten offers to do several things with different companies, like as far as re-entry when guys are released.
Mm-hmm.
Because when an inmate is released, they basically open the door and say, okay, go home.
Mm-hmm.
Have a nice life. And they're not prepared for it.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is give them all the information I can, social services, job training, websites, and that sort of pisses people off sometimes because that just shows that the social workers the states have aren't doing the job.
Mm-hmm. Well, because they're following the book.
Right, and I don't care about the book. As long as the book has pictures in it, I'll look at it, otherwise I don't touch the book. But the way I do things is effective. And I ruffle people's feathers sometimes, but I kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think people are acting in the inmate's best interest, and that's the way I was taught. Always act in the client's best interest. Stay ethically sound,
Mm-hmm.
but always in the client's best interest. And they view this as a business, and you can't.
Is there anything that you could do to progress yourself to get into a position where you can change that to allow people to use the techniques that you use since they are effective?
At this point, without my master's degree,
Mm-hmm.
the only way I can do that is through manipulation. And I'm good at that. I can get people to do what I show them this is what works.
Mm-hmm.
Because, as you know, I've been out of work for like 10 days now. I'm looking so forward to going back.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been talking to the counselors who have taken my place, and they're telling me these horror stories.
Mm-hmm.
That the groups aren't listening, and individuals sit there for 45 minutes staring straight at them and not say a word for a full session. And I don't have that problem.
So you've made an impact enough that you get
Yeah.
people comfortable to the point where they'll talk and
Yeah.
be open.
Right. And like one of the big things with the Department of Corrections is Mr., Miss, Sir, Ma'am, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe in that. I don't believe in it at all. I let the inmates call me by my first name, and that just drives people crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'll be walking down the hall through my office corridor, and there's a staging area where they're waiting to see psych or they're waiting to see social services. And all you hear is guys screaming my name out of these cages, and it just drives people crazy.
Well, because you put yourself on the
Right.
same playing field
Yeah.
as them. You don't want to be,
Mhm.
you don't want them to look at you like you're superior
Yeah.
to them.
They're not numbers, they're not animals. If you treat them like animals, they're gonna act like animals.
And is that something that was taught to you through the years, or is that just the way that you've always been?
That's just the way I am.
Mhm.
That's
So it
just-
definitely helps you in the field.
Right, because they're people.
Mhm.
They've made a mistake. Some of them made 7 or 8 mistakes. But they're still people.
Mhm.
And you never know when you're gonna be able to get through to them.
And staying at, what made you go into the prison field?
If you ask some of the people I've gone to school with, they'll tell you that's where I belong. That's where I belong, that's my personality. But it's just, I have so much freedom. I can do pretty much whatever I want. I can curse, I can make as many off-color references as I want,
Mhm.
and nobody says a word. But when I turn around and have to go one-on-one clients, it's completely different.
Mhm. It's
But-
professional.
Yeah, but when I walk in front of a group and there are 60 inmates sitting there, of course I have to start cursing. You have to.
Yeah.
Well, you're walking in a room with 60 alpha males.
Mhm.
I have to become the alpha male. I have to. I'm
Yeah.
not going to be successful. And I'm not bigger than them. I'm not stronger than them. I'm not faster than them. But I'm smarter than them.
Is this the area that you've always worked in?
In one way, shape, or form, yeah.
Mhm.
Because I did inpatient with adolescents previous to this.
Okay.
And it's basically all court ordered.
Mhm.
So they were very resistant to treatment.
Mhm.
And that's why I started developing in the way, most of it's my personality, but what I've been taught and what I've learned and when I see what works and what doesn't work. And that's why I clash with my boss sometimes,
Mhm.
because he's very black and white. And I try to explain to him it's not black and white. And he gets annoyed with me sometimes on an almost daily basis. But then he'll get these letters from inmates who have been in the program saying how much they learned, how much they liked it. So he has to back off.
Mhm.
We can't really say too much to him.
And that's not a position that you would want to be in, is, you know,
I'm not a bureaucrat.
okay.
I have no time for it, I have no patience for it. I can play the politics game when I have to, but I have no desire to put on a tie.
I can understand
Or
that.
a shirt with collar.
So what other places have you applied for?
A couple of reentry, like halfway houses, people, guys are released from prison into a halfway house, they stay there for like 6 months, stay out their parole. A bunch of private agencies, one because I'm a male and there's not many of us.
Mhm.
And for some reason I seem to interview really well.
You seem to have the personality for it.
I mean, it's fun, and you gotta show you're having fun.
Mhm.
And it's like anything else to do. When you're angry, show you're angry. When you're happy, be happy.
So now with the, not knowing, you know, being kind of in limbo with the contract right now, what is that doing with your stress level?
I try not to think about it, but it's like this piano hanging over your head on a string.
Mhm.
Because that's the one concern we all in the office have. We all have mortgages, we all have car payments, it's like, what's gonna happen?
Mhm.
And the company hasn't been forthcoming with information, basically glossing over and saying, oh, well, everything's in review, or we're waiting to hear. Well, it's not gonna help.
And if the contract doesn't go through, do they offer any kind of financial, like severance?
We have no idea. We have no idea.
So that's gotta be very stressful.
It doesn't bother me so much because in my position, I've luckily set myself up where I can take a
Okay.
hit for a little while,
All right.
but I have people I work with who haven't.
Mhm.
And I find myself trying to keep them in check. Just, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. Keep your head down, keep doing what you're doing. Don't
Now,
worry about it.
when times do get, when the stress does actually come to the surface, what do you do to relieve that? What do you do to comfort?
Music. I get behind my drum set.
You play in a band?
Yeah.
All right.
Actually, played tonight,
Really?
Oh,
How
yeah.
long have you been playing?
30 years.
Wow. So that's gotta be like your go-to thing.
Yeah, that's my creative outlet.
Very nice. How often are you involved with that?
Rehearse 1 or 2 nights a week and play it out at least every other week. But I'm usually out playing every weekend somewhere.
Like bars and stuff? Very nice.
It's fun.
Very
That's who my
nice.
friends are, and they try to talk to me about their problems, and I tell them, shut the fuck up, I don't care. And when you paying me?
I'm not on the
Yeah,
job right now.
Yeah, I'm not, if you're not paying me, well, I bought a beer. Okay, I'll look at the 5 minutes. You give me what you get out of the bartender,
Mhm.
which is, okay, fine.
Now, what kind of clientele, like the inmates that you deal with, are we talking about temporary or long-term, like,
Both, I specialize with sex offenders
okay.
and the more violent offenders.
And
multiple
how do
murders.
you, how do you deal with that? Because I know a lot of people would face issues when having to counsel a sex offender and help them, you know, if they are so opposed to what they have done and the crimes they've committed. How do you deal with that?
They're people, and I don't read files. I look at their name and maybe how long they've been there, but that's about as much as I look.
So you don't look at
I
what
don't
they,
want to look at their charges.
you just see them as a
and
person and not
I'll
their
let it
crime.
come up in the course of the conversation.
And how forthcoming are the people that you deal with usually with the situations they've found themselves in?
The sex offenders, for the most part, are scared little rabbits.
Mhm.
It takes them a while to come around and talk about what they've done. The people who have committed multiple murders, they come right out and want to slap you in the face with it and see how you react. They're testing you. They'll tell you how they killed somebody, how they reacted to it, how it felt to kill somebody, how they wish they would have killed more people. Now, one guy in a therapy session, I asked him, did he have any regrets? And he looked straight across the table from me and said, I wish my body count would have been higher.
Wow. Now, how do you not take that home? Like, what are your techniques that you use for yourself to not bring work home with you? Because it's gotta take a toll on you, the stuff that you listen to on a daily basis.
It doesn't really.
No?
No, because I'm just fascinated with how can they do this? What's going on up here that allows them to do that and allows them to talk about it with a straight face? So when I go home, I'm not thinking about, oh, why did he blow her head off with a shotgun? I'm thinking, oh, how do you get there?
So you had the curiosity.
Yeah, I want to know how you got from point A to point B. What happened in between?
So that's good. That's very effective, so that you're not bringing
Right.
work home with
Right.
you. And
I'm not bringing murders home. I'm not bringing rapes, all that stuff home. I'm bringing home, okay, he might have had dissociative personality disorder. He might have been abused as a child. How did that affect him along the way, his development? How did that change his values? How did it askew everything for him? Or her at the same time? Really have quite a few female murders.
Mhm.
And the women are much worse than the men.
Really,
No offense.
none taken.
They are, that 4 hours a week is tough sometimes.
Really.
Yeah.
So is there anything that you went through or experienced in your life that drove you to this field of helping others?
I'm an accident. I shouldn't be here. I was running warehouse shipping department, and when Sandy had destroyed the place, so everybody got their severance and went down unemployment, got interviewed, and they gave me some personality test. And they said, you should be doing middle management, how are you talking about counseling? And I looked straight at a woman across the desk, and I'm like, what, sit at the desk and shuffle fucking papers like you do? And she just looked up at me, she was, there's more to it than that. And she showed me some courses here at Brookdale. She said, we'll pay you to go to school. Why don't you go take a couple of courses, see if you like it. And I sat down, and it just seemed like such common sense, so easy to me. I'm like, oh, yes, I can do this.
How did I not think of this sooner?
Yeah, how did I not do this years ago?
So this is like a natural field for you now?
Yeah, it's very comfortable for me. Like, as the me working is completely different than the me not working.
Mhm.
If, suppose we ran into each other outside of the office, outside of a work environment, I probably would say hello to you, that would be about it.
Mhm.
Very quiet, very shy, very mature. But when you get in front of a crowd and the lights go on, it's time to go to work. And I like that. And I like being able to turn that off. I like being quiet and just sit there, eat my french fries and 2-3 words, that's it.
So you said that you play in the band outside, so then you get in front of a
Cut. It was 15 minutes already.
that was 15 minutes already?
Yeah.